Go live. Okay. I think we're on live, everybody. Um, so let me say good morning. Good morning. It's a Saturday morning, and we want to welcome everyone to the fourth webinar called Conversations Concerning the Crisis. And I'm very happy to share the platform with my good friend and Brother Edward Keaton from Atlanta, Georgia, and how's things in the ATL, Ed? Yeah, okay. In spite of. Well, good, good, good. And we have five panelists on today, but before we introduce them, I'm going to ask Ed if he'll kind of give the audience an overview of what we've done in the past and how we got to this point with this particular webinar.
We've done three of these panel discussions, and the last one we did several weeks ago, we had like 5,000 views or something like that. And but this fourth one was encouraged. We were encouraged by Sister Nikki Taylor because she said she felt like we had something we ought to continue with it. So here we are, and she's right back here with us. So we dragging you with us. But we've had some really good discussions. We've talked about white supremacy. We've talked about police brutality. We've also discussed at length police brutality and how police brutality and both white supremacy and racism has impacted the church and the world. So that pretty much has been the context of our discussions, and we're going to continue somewhat in that vein, talking more about COVID-19 and some other things on today. But I just appreciate Sister Taylor encouraging us to do this because I was trying to figure out where we're going next. So here we are, and you have the questions, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the first question to Raul. I understand you might have to leave early.
Well, let's do this, Ed. Let each one of them introduce themselves first.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's each panelist. And before you do that, I think on the Facebook Live screen, we're scrolling. We'd like for everyone to go to the Arlington Road Facebook page and to start a watch party. To start a watch party and share this with everyone. If you do that, that'd be most appreciative. And also, those in the audience, if you have a question for one of the panelists, just put that in the chat section, and we'll channel that to the right person. But let's start with Raul, and then Kimberly, then Elijah, Mickey, and then Matthew. If you'll just introduce yourself, tell us a little about who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the just invitation and the opportunity. Greetings from Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, California. Good morning. My name is Raul Platos. I'm currently as LA City Commissioner on Affordable Housing. As one of my hats, I'm also the founder of the Latino Coalition of Los Angeles, which is a LA county-wide 501c4, which is a social welfare organization. And I'm a member at Reseda Church of Christ. I run the Men's Empowerment Ministry. And for the last 4 years, I was the executive director of the American Red Cross Northern Valleys chapter here in LA County.
Thank you, Brother Raul. And it's good to spend time with you again, and look forward to what you're going to share on today. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sister Kimberly Hayes, and again, I also want to thank Brother Crusoe and Brother Keaton and Sister Nikki Taylor for inviting me to this forum. I am excited to join in this conversation. I Started a consulting business about 11 years ago. My background is in nonprofit management in the space of working with children and families in communities challenged by poverty. Most of my work has been in New York City. I currently now run my own business, a for-profit now, and still working with organizations that work with families and children and dealing with issues of gun violence intervention and prevention, as well as social service, other social service agencies. So my background is in counseling psych, with the Master's in Counseling Psych and the Master's in Education is the platform which I hail to do the work.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, and your expertise is much needed, especially during this crisis that we're facing with the pandemic. So we're looking forward to what you're going to share on today. Thank you.
All right, I'm Elijah Cole. I am the minister and one of the elders at the Paul Russell Road Church of Christ, Tallahassee, Florida. I also teach in public school. I teach high school here in Leon County. I better say right up front that I'm speaking for me and not the union and not the school and nobody else like that. So just to get that out front. So if you don't like it, send it to me. Don't send it to them.
Okay.
Besides that, like I said, I work as a minister. My dissertation was on why members are leaving Church of Christ. So we did that some years ago. Primarily, I work a lot with families, a whole lot in marriage, enrichment, and that kind of thing. You see some stuff behind me. I'm a budding songwriter, all of that. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, Dr. Cole, I just learned something about you. Do you write bars, man? Do you throw down?
I get it. You know, when I finish this, I'm going to take this jacket off and y'all going to see Doc DC on here just a little while on Facebook Live.
Well, all right, man. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to what you're going to share on today. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nikki Taylor. I'm honored to be seated at this table with you to discuss these pressing issues of the day. I wear many hats: author, speaker, editor-at-large at Essence Magazine, executive producer of my own film company, Satin Doll Films, which is dedicated to telling unexpected stories and untold stories about women of color. For 40 years, I've been an advocate for Black women, with the goal to affirm our inner and outer beauty, to help us celebrate our beauty, own our lives, and master our purpose with distinction. I'm clear that this is the time of promise and that it is pregnant with opportunities for us. And so all we have to do is show up ready, according to Colossians 4:13.
Well, thank you, Mickey, and we look forward to what you're going to share on today. I just got a text. We want to make sure I need to do some technical things to make sure everybody is showing up on the screen here. But we're looking forward to what you're going to share. Thank you for joining us on today. Okay, Matthew.
I am Dr. Matthew Marion. I am the pulpit minister for the Castle Rock Church of Christ. I've been with them now for about 12 years. I am the author of Mount Moving Faith as well as Natural Evangelism. And I also am a tennis coach at the Castleview High School and have been doing that for a while. And it is a great privilege and honor, and I'm thankful for the invite to join such excellent and qualified participants.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for that compliment, and we look forward to what you're going to share. Is Colorado considered the Rocky Mountains? Is that the Rocky Mountains?
Yes. When I moved out here, I got into hiking those Rocky Mountains, and so there's a big thing out here called 14ers, and there's about 14,000 foot mountains, and about 3,000 people in the world have done that. I just decided that I should make it 3,001.
Well, okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Ed, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, happy mountain climbing there, Matthew. Well, again, I appreciate all of you being here today, and we're hoping that we can have some discoveries today and some things that we need to cover and see if we can help put a fix on it. But number one, we're going to be talking to Brother Raul. First question, and that is, there are multiple pandemics taking place right now: social pandemics, economical pandemics, spiritual, along with COVID-19, which we're going to be talking about later. From your particular perspective in your profession, what's your response as we represent the salt of the earth and the light of the world? How can Christians make a difference as to what's going on socially right now, in your estimation?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think the first and foremost, prayer. Even before COVID-19, we've been living in a world that needs more prayer, that needs more Jesus, that needs more disciples. And so first and foremost, I would say prayer. We also need to be cognizant of the fact that God gave us common sense as well. And so to be able to understand that God has allowed the doctors and scientists to be on this earth to help us get through this moment of time, I think there's a social responsibility, especially for young folks, not to be selfish or greedy by just going out and filing out and then coming back home and putting other people in their family and in their neighborhoods at risk. And so I always ask myself, what would Jesus do, right? And so I'll land on this, that after a few months of being in this and being scared, being afraid, because we're human, we need to be humbled and remember to get back on our knees and pray to the one that already seen this coming.
What is your pertaining to the social issues, economic and so forth? What are your thoughts on that? I just want to give you a few seconds to touch on those two things.
Sure. So here in Los Angeles, I serve on the LA City Affordable Housing Commission, and we've seen the fact that there was a crisis even before COVID, which was the homelessness crisis here. And our mayor that appointed me to this commission has done his very best and has shown leadership when the current occupant of the White House has not. And so I think that local leadership reminds us that real leadership starts from the bottom up, because that's why God put us here, especially as men, is to work. And so to show that leadership. And so we've had to adapt safely, socially distancing, but at times still having to go out to the streets, including during the recent uprising that we had, from George Floyd to here locally, Andres Guardado and Daniel Hernandez that were murdered by rogue officers. We still took to the streets, and that includes a bunch of young people. And so we've moved the needle towards systemic change just a little bit more, even through a pandemic.
All right. I think we lost Brother Keaton. Okay, thank you, Brother Raul, for that. Kimberly, how would you respond to that question? There are multiple pandemics taking place right now, social, economic, spiritual, and from your perspective or profession, what do you think should be our response as the salt of the earth, the light of the world? How can Christians make a difference?
Sure. Again, also thank you for that question. When I first read the question, what stuck out for me is the scripture about how we are the salt of the earth, and thinking about salt in old times, I can say salt was used to preserve to preserve meats and to preserve your foods. And so if we as Christians think of ourselves as the salt of the earth, then we have to think of ourselves as the individuals that are touted with with preserving the moral values, the fabric of society that reflects back on the godness, God and God's goodness. And so when God allows us to be in positions of leadership, I think it's our responsibility in those positions to see how we can affect a change. So from a social standpoint, looking at what are some of the social ills that are created by the fact that there are so many social determinants of health that start with finance, with education, with health disparities. Looking at all of those and seeing from a leadership position and as a Christian, what can we do to effectively lead others to make a change that will be impactful for society as a whole?
Very good. Very good. Ed, are you back? Okay.
I'm back.
All right.
You missed me?
Yes, sir. I missed you.
That smile, Ed, that smile.
This technology is not an exact science, is it? But the second question, I think we've covered some of that in the first question, but we're going to go to Brother Cole. How has COVID-19? Well, I tell you what, address that question. The same one, question number one.
Question number one.
Yeah.
Well, as far as being the salt and light, one thing that we've got to really figure out is how do we touch people in this moment when people are panicked? I think the first thing is, when you look at Jesus, the Bible says we don't have a high priest who wasn't touched with our infirmities. So we need to understand the pain that people are going through, even if it's not your experience right now. Even if we're calm, cool, and we have our faith, we need to understand that's not everybody's reality. We need to mourn with those who mourn, weep with those who weep, and really be in kinship with them. Now we're in touch. We can be salt. We can come in contact with them. We can build a relationship with them. And then, of course, being light. My gosh, the Bible, we certainly understand that in the Old Testament there were things like leprosy that couldn't be cured, and there was a protocol. So, letting people know that there's nothing new under the sun, and through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we have hope. We've dealt with this before, and there was a protocol. There was social distancing, so to speak. Even there in the Bible, you had to be out of the camp, and so this is not unheard of for people of faith. So it's just reminding people that we've survived this kind of thing before, and that the same God who got us through those things in the past is still God today, and He still loves His people today. So we still have an answer today. I'm not saying this isn't scary, but we've seen it before.
Thank you so very much. I guess the thing is, when we consider what's happening with the pandemic and issues, and there is a pandemic of bitterness, division across this country now, almost to the point that we are yearning and longing for some real leadership in that area. And I think that's where that question is coming from. Brother Cruz, I'm going to give it over to Brother Raul.
Well, we got to get Matthew in to address that first question. Matthew didn't get an opportunity to address, the multiple pandemics taking place.
Correct.
Yes.
Mr. Mick, too. Let's not forget.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I skipped over. Okay. Which one of you all want to go first? Okay.
Where are we, Mike?
Mickey, you go first.
All right. Well, this is a loaded question, and I took some notes on this.